Have you ever stopped to wonder if the world you live in is not what it seems? What if everything you've been taught about your government, religion, education, and even the very laws you follow was nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion? Imagine a system so intricately designed that it governs every aspect of your life, not through visible force, but by weaving a web of influence so subtle you rarely even notice it. Jordan Maxwell, a researcher and a pioneer in uncovering hidden truths, spent decades exploring the symbolic and structural foundations of the systems that control human civilization. According to him, the world as we know it is built on principles far older and deeper than most people realize. These principles are rooted in two ancient, universal laws, operating quietly in the background of everything we experience, from the legal system to religion, commerce, and even the way we perceive freedom. But here's the question: if these laws are so fundamental, why hasn't anyone told you about them? Maxwell argued that this secrecy is deliberate. These ancient laws, if fully understood, have the power to dismantle the narratives that keep society in order, and that's why they've been hidden from plain view, wrapped in layers of symbolism, rituals, and language designed to obscure their meaning. If you've ever felt like something in the world doesn't quite add up, you're not alone. Let's unravel the mystery and take a deeper look at the symbols, laws, and systems shaping our reality. By the end, you might find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew. From the moment you were born, your mind has been shaped by symbols, powerful tools that go far beyond mere visual representation. A symbol isn't just a convenient way to communicate. It's a gateway to influence, designed to work on your subconscious mind. Symbols can guide your thoughts, steer your emotions, and even shape your decisions, all without you realizing it. Maxwell often emphasized that symbols carry deep, often hidden meanings. These meanings connect to ancient archetypes, spiritual traditions, and psychological triggers that have been embedded in human consciousness for thousands of years. Far from being random designs, symbols are carefully chosen to resonate on a deeper level. Take corporate logos, for example. At first glance, a logo might seem like a simple branding tool, a way for a company to stand out. But Maxwell believed that these logos are much more than that. They are imbued with intent, often drawing from ancient symbols that tap into the subconscious. Consider the chevron insignia with its inverted V shape or shell scallop emblem. These aren't just pretty designs. They trace their origins to ancient symbols of power, energy, and trade. Their purpose? To subtly communicate ideas of authority and influence, embedding messages in your mind without you even knowing it. Symbols also play a dual role in religion. On one hand, they can inspire spiritual growth and elevate consciousness. On the other, they can be used to manipulate and control populations. The cross, the crescent moon, the star, these are not just symbols of faith. They are tools that have been used to unite, divide, and command loyalty across centuries. When people fail to explore the deeper meanings behind these symbols, they unknowingly surrender their power to those who wield them. By understanding the origins and purposes of symbols, you begin to break free from their hidden influence. This awareness is the first step toward reclaiming your mental autonomy. At the heart of Maxwell's research lies the idea that human civilization operates under two primary legal frameworks: the law of the land and the law of the sea. These aren't just abstract concepts. They are systems that influence everything from local customs to global commerce. And while they might seem unrelated at first glance, their roots go deep into humanity's ancient relationship with nature. The law of the land is tied to local traditions, customs, and governance. It represents the physical, tangible world, the soil beneath our feet, and the communities built upon it. In contrast, the law of the sea, also known as maritime admiralty law, transcends borders. It governs trade, commerce, and navigation, making it a far-reaching system that has infiltrated almost every aspect of modern life. But here's where things get really intriguing. Maritime admiralty law isn't just about ships and sailors anymore. Over time, its principles have crept into areas like finance, governance, and even your individual rights. Think about this. When you step into a courtroom, you're not just entering a place where justice is served. You're stepping into the domain of maritime law. And pay attention to the words we use. Terms like docket, which originally referred to a ship's schedule, or bank, which traces back to the riverbanks that direct the flow of water, and today, the flow of money. Even the phrase bailing out has its roots in maritime practices. These connections aren't random, they're deliberate, but it goes even deeper. Judges wear black robes, a symbol that harks back to Saturn, the ancient figure representing authority and control. And if you look at the layout of a courtroom, it's strikingly similar to maritime divisions, with physical barriers that separate jurisdictions. When you start to piece all this together, it becomes clear. These ancient laws still have a profound influence on the systems we live under today. And once you see these connections, you can't unsee them. Money, as we know it, is deeply intertwined with the principles of maritime law. Have you ever noticed how financial language mirrors the flow of water? Terms like liquid assets, cash flow, and currency, they all hint at commerce's maritime origins. Banks, just like riverbanks, control the flow of this currency, guiding it where it needs to go to serve the system. Now think back to when you were born. Your entrance into the world was marked by a birth certificate. But according to Maxwell, this document isn't just a record of your birth. It's a symbolic acknowledgement. Your birth certificate ties you into a global network of commerce, of your entry into the economic system. Much like a ship's cargo is documented upon arrival, even your citizenship operates within this framework. It's not just about where you're from. It's a legal construct tied to trade and commerce. This realization can challenge how we think about freedom, autonomy, and even our place in society. So, what does this mean for you? How much of your identity and your rights are shaped by these systems? Religion, often seen as purely spiritual, plays a surprisingly significant role in reinforcing structures of control. Maxwell believed that religious institutions operate much like corporations, using rituals, symbols, and dogma to maintain their influence. And one of the most striking connections he highlighted was the symbolism of Saturn. In ancient cultures, Saturn was revered as the enforcer of rules and boundaries. Think about it. This archetype of control is echoed in the black robes worn by priests, judges, and even university graduates. These robes aren't just traditional attire. They're a deliberate nod to Saturn's authority. But it goes deeper. The concept of God, as presented in many organized religions, has often been shaped to align with systems of governance. Ancient cosmology, like the reverence for the dog star Sirius in Egyptian mythology, has been woven into modern religious frameworks. What does this tell us? That religion, commerce, and law aren't separate entities. They're interconnected pillars of a system designed to guide and, in some cases, manipulate human behavior. So what role does this system play in your life? And how much of it have you questioned? When you step into a courtroom, you're not just entering a legal space. You're stepping onto a stage where the principles of maritime law are in full display. Have you ever noticed how passing through the gate into the courtroom feels symbolic? It represents leaving the law of the land behind and entering the law of the sea. In this space, you're no longer seen as a living individual, but as a legal entity. That's why attorneys, not defendants, do the speaking in court. Even the term bailing out a defendant ties directly to maritime practices. It's the release of a ship from its moorings. And what about the phrase, "past the bar"? It originates from the physical barrier that separates maritime jurisdiction from the outside world. By understanding these symbolic and procedural elements, you gain a powerful advantage, the ability to navigate the legal system with greater awareness. So, how much of your role in this system is by design? And what steps can you take to reclaim your agency within a structure that often hides its true nature? The systems that shape our world are meticulously designed to keep their true purpose hidden. Yet, as Maxwell often said, ignorance is not destiny. The journey to freedom begins with knowledge, the kind that pierces through the illusions and reveals the mechanisms of control. Central to Maxwell's teachings is the idea that awareness itself is power. Understanding the symbolic language embedded in everything from corporate logos to legal jargon is not just an intellectual exercise, it's an act of liberation. These symbols and terms are the code of the system, and learning to read this code is the first step toward reclaiming your autonomy. Breaking free requires more than just knowledge. It demands a shift in perspective. Modern society thrives on distractions, entertainment, consumerism, political theater, all designed to keep you focused on trivial matters. Maxwell warned that as long as your attention is consumed by these diversions, you remain a pawn in a larger game. To break the cycle, you must redirect your focus toward understanding the systems that control you. Maxwell's message wasn't just about uncovering hidden truths. It was a call to action. By educating yourself, you not only empower your own life, but also contribute to a broader awakening. Awareness creates ripples that extend far beyond the individual, challenging the status quo and inspiring others to question the systems they inhabit. This collective awakening is the only way to dismantle the structures of manipulation and control. Every person who takes the time to learn and understand becomes a force for change, no matter how small their efforts may seem. So, the question is, what role will you play in shaping a freer, more conscious world? The power to begin lies in your hands.